Section 4.4 is going to give us some more examples of solving linear equations in one variable. Some of these problems may be multi-step. I may have to do some simplification before they're ready to solve. This might involve combining like terms or using the distributive property, as well as using the addition and subtraction properties of equality to solve. So let's look at the first one. The first example is 7x plus 2 equals 23. And we know that when we want to solve this, our goal is to get the x by itself. So anything that is not x needs to be gotten rid of. If we've got a positive 2 here, we're going to subtract 2 from both sides. Because we know that positive 2 minus 2 is 0, getting that 7x by itself. So what I have so far is 7x equals 21. Now, we know the last step is going to be to divide both sides by 7 to get the x by itself. And when I divide by 7, I get x equals 3. Let's look at the next one. The next one has a couple like terms I can combine first. Notice that 3x minus 5x can be simplified into negative 2x. Then we can begin working on solving the equation. To get the x by itself, we're going to deal with this positive 2 first by subtracting 2 from both sides. Subtracting 2 causes positive 2 and negative 2 to subtract to 0, and we get that negative 2x is going to be equal to 4. Now divide both sides by negative 2 to get x by itself. X is equal to 4 divided by negative 2, or negative 2. The next example has variables on both sides of the equal sign, so we're going to move the smaller variable. The smaller variable is 2w, it's positive, so we're going to move it by subtracting it. And what we do to one side of the equation, we have to make sure we also do to the other side. On the left-hand side, the 2w minus 2w is going to subtract to 0 and leave us with negative 9. And on the right-hand side, the 6w minus 2w is going to combine to 4w. And we'll still have our plus 23. Now because the w that we have left is on the right hand side, we're going to work to get rid of the 23. 23 is positive, so we're going to use the opposite, negative 23 on both sides. So on the right hand side, positive 23 and negative 23 subtract to 0. And on the left hand side, negative 9 minus 23 subtracts to negative 32 equals our 4w. And we know that if we divide both sides by 4, we'll be able to get that w by itself. So we have a value of negative 8 for w. Part D has some parentheses to simplify. So if we start with the first set of parentheses, we're going to take negative 4 times 2x and negative 4 times negative 3. That's going to give us negative 8x plus 12. And just check this one more time. When I do the negative 4 times the 2x, I get negative 8x. When I do negative 4 times negative 3, two negatives give me a positive 12. We also want to distribute on the other side. On the other side, we'll have 3 times 4 is 12, minus 3 times x is 3x. So just check the distribute there as well. And now we're going to get to combining like terms. On the left-hand side, we have our 5 and our 12. So we'll add those to 17 minus 8x equals 12 minus 3x. We're going to add 3x to both sides. We do that because negative 3x plus 3x is 0x. So the only x's present now are on the left-hand side. So we've got negative 17 minus 5x. Negative 8 plus 3 is negative 5 equals 12. And because the negative 5x is on the left, we're going to get rid of this 17. It's positive 17, so we'll get rid of it by subtracting 17 from both sides. 17 minus 17 is 0. And so I've got so far 5x equals negative 5. And to get x by itself, we're going to want to divide both sides by negative 5. The result is that x is equal to 1. We've got some more examples to look at. Part E, we've got several distributes to complete before we can begin solving this problem. So the first set of parentheses here, we're going to have 2 times 3x is 6x, and 2 times 4 is 8. In the second set of parentheses, that negative is going to distribute and cause a negative 4x and a positive 1. And for the last set, on the other side of the equal sign, we're going to have 3x plus 6. Now we want to take any like terms and combine them. So starting with the negative 4x and the 6x, if we combine those, we'll get 2x. And then our positive 8 and our positive 1 will combine to a positive 9. Rearranging our variables first, once again, we have 2x being the smaller of the variables, so we're going to subtract 2x from both sides. On the left-hand side, we have 0x left, just positive 9, or 9. And on the right-hand side, we're going to have 3x minus 2x is 1x, or just x. So I have 9 equals x plus 6. To continue solving this, we need to subtract 6 from both sides. That will give us x equals 9 minus 6 is 3. When an equation has a couple of fractions like part f, we might first want to take the entire equation and multiply it by the least common denominator. So the least common denominator in this case is 6. So I'm going to take 6 times that entire equation. When I do 6 times 5/6, the 6's divide out, and I'm left with 5k minus, when we do 6 times 3/2, 2 goes into 6 3 times, so I'm left with 3 times 3 is 9, equals 6 times 7/3, 3 goes into 6 twice, so I have left with 2 times 7 is 14. By multiplying by the common denominator, I'm able to rewrite this equation as an equivalent equation with no fractions. To finish solving, we will add 9 to both sides to get rid of the negative 9, and that's going to give us 5k equals 23. Now we divide both sides by 5 to get our final answer. Parts G and H give us some more opportunities to practice our distributing and fraction skills. Let's look at G. The first set of parentheses needs to be distributed. That's going to give us negative 10 and a positive 8x. The second set of parentheses, we need to distribute that negative. That'll give us a negative 8 and a positive 3x. Now let's combine like terms. 7 minus 10 is negative 3, and 3x plus 3x is 6x. To continue solving this, we're going to get rid of the smaller value of x. So the smaller value is 6x. We'll subtract 6x from both sides. That'll leave us with no x's on the right-hand side, and it's going to leave us with 2x on the left-hand side. The next step is to get rid of the negative 3, so we'll add 3 to both sides. Adding 3 to both sides is going to leave us with 2x equals negative 8 plus 3, or 2x equals negative 5. And we need to divide both sides by 2 to get x by itself. Our answer here is going to be x equals negative 5/2. When we look at example H, we're going to practice that common denominator technique again. So we're going to start with take our entire equation and multiply by the common denominator. My denominators are 6, 8, 4, and 3, so my common denominator is going to be 24. I know that 6 goes into 24 4 times, so 4 times 1 is going to give us 4x for the first term, minus, I know that 8 goes into 24 3 times, so 3 times negative 3 is going to give us negative 9, equals, I know that 3 goes into 24 8 times, that's going to give us 8 times negative 2 is negative 16x, and last, I know that 4 goes into 24 6 times, it's going to give me 6 times 3 is 18. The smaller value of x here is 16x, so we're going to want to add 16x to both sides. That'll give us 0x on the right-hand side of the equation, and a total of 16 plus 4 is 20x on the left-hand side of the equation. Now we want to get rid of the negative 9, so we're going to add 9 to both sides of the equation. We now have 20x equals 18 plus 9, or 20x equals 27. And we divide both sides by 20 to solve. Our answer is x equals 27/20 since that fraction cannot be reduced. The last example of this type has decimal values, so I'm going to grab a calculator to work on those. The smaller value of x is the negative 6.89, so we're going to add 6.89x to both sides of the equation. Let's make a little bit more space by adding those two to 0x on the right hand side. And let's add these over here and figure out how many x we have on the left. So I have negative 3.21 plus 6.89. We're going to end up with 3.68x. Let's keep going. We need to solve for that x, so we're going to subtract that 74.04 from both sides of the equation. We know the left-hand side, they're going to cancel to 0. And the right-hand side, we'll grab our calculator again and start with negative 90.47 minus 74.04. So 3.68x is equal to negative 164.51. And we know that if we divide both sides by 3.68, we'll be able to get our final answer. So my calculator, if I just hit the divide key, that number 164 is already up there, so I just need to type in the divide by 3.68, and I get approximately negative 44.704 if I round to the third decimal place.